The moment we launched this game, we thought it was just another cheap horror knockoff. You know the type: dark hallways, loud jump scares, creepy piano music on loop. Nothing special. Honestly, we were laughing when we clicked it. I even said, "Watch, in 5 minutes we're gonna quit and uninstall." But within seconds, I realized this wasn't one of those games. The room went quiet, and not just in the game, our actual room. It was like the sound outside the headphones just died. No cars outside, no ticking clock, not even the faint hum of the fan, just silence. It felt heavy, almost too heavy. I glanced at my friend and he was already giving me that look, like, "Do you feel that too?" The screen itself was pitch black except for one single glowing option. No menu, no settings, no brightness controls, just a pulsing button in the center. Begin midnight, that was it. Of course, we laughed at first. "Bro, it's just trying too hard. Begin midnight. Ooh, spooky." But the thing is, when I moved my mouse to click it, my hand actually shook. I told myself it was nothing, maybe just me overthinking. Still, I clicked. The screen flickered once, twice, and then the game loaded. A small, dimly lit room appeared, wooden floors, old wallpaper peeling at the edges. A single candle burning on a table, flickering like it was struggling to stay alive. And outside the window, rain. Steady, endless rain. It should have been ordinary, but it wasn't. Something about the way that room looked. It wasn't staged like a normal horror game level. It felt lived in, like this wasn't a design. It was someone's actual room, someone who hadn't been here in years. We sat there, waiting for instructions, maybe a tutorial, maybe some text, but nothing came, just silence. I moved forward in the game, footsteps echoing off the wooden floorboards, but as soon as we turned the corner, I froze. Because there it was, the sound, not from the headphones, not from the game, from my actual room, footsteps. Slow, heavy, pacing behind us. I whipped my head around so fast my chair nearly fell over, but of course nothing. Just darkness. My friend laughed nervously like, "Bro, maybe your house is haunted." I laughed too, but it was forced. My hands were clammy on the keyboard, my heart already pounding like I had just sprinted a mile, and that's when I realized this was not going to be a normal playthrough. Not tonight. It started so simple. The screen showed nothing but that dimly lit house. The rain tapping against the window gave this soft, almost relaxing rhythm. At first we thought, okay, maybe it's just a walking simulator. You know, no monsters, no real threats, just atmosphere. But then we noticed something strange. There was no pause button, no settings, no way to quit back to the main menu. The only way forward was forward, so we kept moving. The house stretched out into a narrow hallway. The candlelight behind us faded, leaving only darkness pressing in from every side. I swear, even though it was just pixels on a screen, I felt like the air in my room got colder the further we walked. We were joking at first, trying to ease the tension. Watch, the jump scare's gonna pop out right here. But nothing did. Just long draw, now silence, and you know how sometimes silence is worse than noise. That's exactly what it felt like. Every creak of the digital floorboards made us twitch. Then it happened. At the far end of the hallway, barely lit by the faint glow of lightning flashing through a window, we saw it. A figure, tall, thin, motionless, not moving, not breathing, just standing. My first instinct was denial. It's just a coat rack. It has to be a coat rack. But the more I stared, the more I realized no coat rack looks like that. I whispered, "Do you see that?" My friend didn't even answer. He just leaned closer to the screen, eyes wide, mouth slightly open. The silence in the room was so thick it felt like even whispering was too loud. We edged forward in the game. 1 step, 2 steps. Every footstep echoed down the hall like a drumbeat, slow and hollow. But the figure didn't move. Didn't flinch. It just stayed there, and then the screen began to distort. Static lines tearing across the hallway, like the game was trying to hide something from us. We couldn't see clearly, but for a split second it looked like the figure's head tilted, just a fraction. That was it for me. I pulled my hands back from the keyboard. My heart was slamming in my chest, and I muttered, "Nope. Nope, I'm done." But of course, we kept going, closer, closer, and just when I thought we'd finally see its face, snap. Gone, the hallway was empty, like nothing had ever been there. We both exhaled at the same time, laughing nervously. Okay, that was good. That was creepy, but good. We thought that was the end of it. But then the game's sound completely cut out. Silence, dead silence. And in that silence we heard breathing, not through the headphones, not from the speakers. But behind us, in the actual room, slow, deep, ragged breathing, and that's when we realized the figure hadn't disappeared. It had moved. Picture this. The lights in my room flickered once, twice, and then, gone, total darkness. The only light left was the cold, pale glow of the monitor, painting everything in this eerie blue. On screen, the hallway stretched out, longer than before. It shouldn't have been longer, but it was. And at the very end, he was there, the figure, not moving, not breathing, just standing in the middle of the corridor like he had been waiting the whole time. I leaned back in my chair, whispering, "Bro, he's back. He's literally back." My friend didn't even blink. His eyes were locked on the screen, and I swear I could hear his heartbeat just as loud as mine. We hesitated for a solid 30 seconds, not even touching the controls. Just staring. The figure didn't twitch, didn't shift. It was like the game froze, but the static flickering at the edges of the screen told us it was still alive. Finally, I moved forward, 1 step, 2 steps. The floorboards creaked under the character's feet, echoing so loud I had to lower the volume. But the closer we got, the stranger the screen became. Static crawled across it like spiderwebs, tearing through the hallway. The walls bent, the floor seemed to pulse like it was breathing, and then he was gone, not like he walked away. Not like he dissolved into shadows, just blink. 1 frame he was there, the next frame empty hallway. We both shot forward in our chairs like, wait, what? Where did he go? We panned the camera left. Nothing, right? Nothing. We inched forward, step by step, until the whole hallway was clear, and for a second we laughed. Nervous laughter, but laughter. Okay, he's messing with us. That's good. That's creepy. That's fine. But that relief lasted maybe 5 seconds. Because then we heard it. The sound didn't come from the speakers this time. It came from the room itself. Behind us, slow, deep breathing. I froze. My friend froze. Neither of us moved. Neither of us even dared to look over our shoulders. The only sound was that heavy breathing, dragging in and out of the air like something right there in the dark was watching us. I whispered, "Don't turn around, don't look." And just as I said that, the game glitched, the screen flickered, and for a split second, the in-game camera jerked backward. And in that half-second glitch, we saw him, not in the hallway anymore, standing right behind our character. Inches away, and then the screen cut to black. We thought the game had crashed, but then a whisper. So faint, so distorted, it said, "I see you." That was the moment I realized we weren't just playing the game anymore. The game was playing us. The sound design was relentless, scraping, dragging, like nails carving through the walls around us. The longer we played, the more it felt like the game wasn't just trying to scare us. It was trying to wear us down. Every step forward was like walking deeper into a nightmare. The hallways twisted in ways that didn't make sense. Turn a corner, and suddenly you're back where you started. Open a door, and it slams shut behind you without a sound. The lay out wasn't random, it was intentional. Like the game was guiding us somewhere we didn't want to go, and then came the moment that made me want to quit completely. The game whispered, but it didn't whisper random, creepy nonsense like, "Get out or he's coming." No. It whispered my actual username, my real online username, clear, distorted but unmistakable. I froze. My friend froze. We both looked at each other like, did you just hear that too? And the worst part, it didn't stop. It said it again, over and over, each time dragging it out, stretching it, twisting it. Like it was savoring the sound of my name. I ripped my headset halfway off, my heart beating so loud it drowned out everything else. I wanted to shut the whole PC down right then and there, but my friend, of course, was like, no, no, keep going. We've come this far, and me, being the idiot I am, went along with it. So we moved on. We turned a corner in game, and there it was, a locked door glowing faintly with red symbols carved into it. The designs pulsed, almost like they were alive, beating like a slow, steady heart. I hesitated, hovering my mouse, but curiosity won. I clicked. The second I touched it, all the lights in my real room flashed back on, just for 1 second. And in that 1 second we saw him, not in the game, not on the monitor, reflected on the glass of the screen itself. A face, pale, hollow, smiling. I yanked myself back from the desk so fast I nearly toppled my chair. My friend let out this nervous laugh, but I could tell it wasn't funny to him either. He was shaking just as much as I was. And then, as if the game knew exactly what it was doing, it whispered again. This time, it wasn't my name. It said, "You shouldn't be here." That was it. That was the moment my stomach dropped. This wasn't just a game messing with us. It knew we were there. It knew who we were. The screen flickered, and suddenly a timer appeared. 5 minutes, counting down. No instructions, no clues, just numbers ticking down. And I swear to you, every tick echoed through the room like a hammer pounding inside my skull. That's when we realized, whatever was happening, we weren't meant to win. The whisper still echoed in my ears. You shouldn't be here, while the numbers ticked down on the screen. 5 minutes, the timer was glowing bright red, pulsing like a heartbeat. Every second that passed felt heavier, louder, like it wasn't just counting in the game, it was counting for us. We scrambled, sprinting down the twisting hallways, opening doors, slamming them shut, looking for anything that could stop the countdown. But the game wasn't giving us answers. The doors didn't lead anywhere new. The hallways bent back into themselves, twisting and looping like a maze designed by something that wanted us lost. And the whole time he was there, the figure, sometimes at the end of the hall, sometimes in the corner of a room, sometimes reflected in the glass of a window that shouldn't have been reflecting anything. He didn't move. He didn't need to. Every time we blinked, every time the static flickered, he was closer. 4 minutes. My friend started laughing, not because it was funny, because he didn't know what else to do. Nervous, broken laughter spilling out while we ran in circles. I yelled, "This is impossible. We can't beat this." But I still kept going, hands slipping on the mouse, my heart racing so fast I could barely breathe. 3 minutes. We found another door, a heavy one with chains across it. For a second, I thought, this is it. This is the exit. But when I tried to open it, the chains rattled, and the screen shook violently. Static screamed into my headphones so loud I ripped them off. And underneath that static, someone whispered my name again. This time not distorted, clear, human. 2 minutes. Every hallway we ran through was darker, tighter, bending in impossible ways. Shadows stretched across the floor, clawing at our feet, and I swear I felt something brush against my ankle under my desk. We kept going. We had no choice. The timer was almost gone. 1 minute. The figure wasn't standing still anymore. For the first time it moved. It didn't walk. It didn't run. It snapped forward in jagged, broken frames, like reality itself was glitching just to bring it closer. 1 second, it was at the end of the hall. Blink, it was halfway. Blink, it was right there, reaching out. 30 seconds. The whole screen was shaking now. The walls closed in around us. The sound of breathing filling the room so loud it drowned out everything else. My hands were numb. I could barely feel the keyboard. My friend was screaming at me to quit. to shut it down, but I couldn't. I don't know why. I couldn't. 10 seconds. The figure's face filled the screen. Pale, hollow eyes, that impossible stretched smile. And just as the timer hits 0, black screen, silence. For a moment, we thought it was over, but then we saw it. Not in the game, not on the screen, in the reflection of the monitor, standing behind us. The screen was pitch black. No sound, no movement, nothing but the faint glow of the monitor reflecting back at us, and in that reflection he was there, the figure, standing inches behind us, its hollow eyes locked on ours, that stretched, impossible smile curving wider than any human face should. I didn't even breathe. My friend whispered, barely audible, "Don't move." My whole body froze in that chair, terrified that if I turned around, if I even twitched, I'd see it standing there for real. Then 3 knocks, knock, 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 at my actual door. I swear to you, the sound was so real it rattled the wood. My stomach dropped straight through the floor. We both spun in our chairs, staring at the door, waiting for the handle to turn. Waiting for something, anything, but nothing happened. When we finally looked back at the screen, the game had restarted. Back to the very beginning, the same black screen, the same single button glowing in the center. Begin midnight. We didn't touch it. Not this time. We shut the whole thing down, yanked the power cord from the wall, and just sat there in silence. My friend wouldn't even look at the monitor, and me. I couldn't stop staring at the reflection, half expecting to see those hollow eyes staring back again. Maybe it was all a trick. Maybe it was just the game messing with us. Or maybe it wasn't. All I know is, we're never opening that game at midnight again. Ever. But hey, if you really want me to try it one more time, if you want to see what happens when the timer doesn't run out, you know what to do. Hit that like button, subscribe, and maybe, just maybe, I'll open it again. Until then, keep your lights on. And whatever you do, if you hear those knocks at your door in the middle of the night, don't answer.